Hi there, it's Sheila Kennedy from PNS, Professional Notary Services, and Nina New York Notary Alliance. And we are here today for our next interview on In the Know. We have in the know conversations with people that we think are going to help, enlighten you, keep you in the know, keep you informed of what's happening with notaries and their affiliate businesses in that, or, their adjacent businesses, those that use notaries. I am so excited to share our guest today. Our guest is Sam West from SIGNiX, and he is a very special partner to Nina and PNS, and I am welcoming you. Thanks for coming today. Hi, Sam.
Thank you, Sheila. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sam, we've said a lot in that, that one sentence. Tell us a little bit about what it is that SIGNiX does.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
SIGNiX is a nationwide remote online notarization platform. We've been in business for about 20 years with our digital signature product. So very similar to like a DocuSign or Adobe
Right.
Sign. We've been doing that forever. But even going back to when Virginia was the first state to pass a RON legislation back in 2013, we actually helped them write that law. So we've been doing this for longer than anyone. We've got all the software you need in order to move your business online, and we're excited to be partnering with PNS and Nina.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that so you were excited, I'm guessing, when New York passed this legislation that we could and put out the new regulations and everything last year, so that notaries could start using Ron. And how has that happened in New York? Like, has it been an easy transition? What are you seeing?
Yeah, that's a great question. New York is, and not really trying to say this lightly, but New York
Mhm.
has probably the strictest requirements nationwide that we've seen. There's actually only two vendors that are approved to do remote online notarization in the state of New York, us being one of them, which is why we're,
Mhm.
partnering with you. There's been a lot of people that may have gone with another platform and their document has been rejected to confirm them with the state. So it's been a little bit more of a challenging process for notaries, and I do understand the hesitation in that regard. But the biggest thing is having the right platform. There's a saying in remote online notarization. I've been doing this for over 4 years now, so I've really got to learn from independent notaries through all different kinds of state, all different kinds of use cases, and really it starts where it ends.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of people think, oh, I need to go do this with the state. I need to get registered. I need to go get a digital certificate. I've got to go do my training, my bond, everything like that. And I would say it should be flipped around and it should start where it ends. And that's, picking a platform before you get yourself a little too far. And I think that's really going to ease up a lot
Mhm.
because as platforms, and there's a lot of great platforms out there. We're not just offering a service. We're educators, and really the state only goes so far where they accept remote online notarization. They build the laws, but there's a lot more since this is so new to a lot of
Mhm.
notaries. So trusting the experts that have been doing this forever, and like I said, helping write the first law.
Mhm.
We've seen many changes to this. So yeah, but I mean, remote online notarization as a whole is growing. New York was a later adopter. It went live in January of last year. So but the growth has been tremendous. And with only being two approved platforms in New York, the business has been nice with notaries getting interested in doing remote notarization in New York.
Right. So there there are a lot of people that are hesitant to, a lot of notaries, I'll say, that are hesitant to adopt, Ron as part of their repertoire of what they offer. How would you argue against that? Like, what could you tell them to assure them that this is actually a really good idea for them?
Well, some of the objections we have is obviously cost. That's that's something where it's, it is an initial investment,
Sure.
in order to expand your business and market that accordingly. It is going to have a little bit of an investment. But Ron, Remote Online Notary is proven to save time and money. This is completely, for those that don't know, transforming the in-person notary process to a 100% remote and electronic way. So it is completely
Mhm.
different. So, take out the rubber stamps, take out the handwritten signatures. You need to authenticate the individual remotely. So all of that technology, requires a little bit of an investment. So that's a common objection we have. But the benefits to remote notarization are, with this being remote electronic, you don't have to worry about paper documents. A lot of notaries have to go print those out and spend time, going to FedEx, then spend time driving to, someone's house where I go, 30 minutes that way, 30 minutes back, sometimes even longer. And the session, takes about 30 minutes for a closing or whatnot. So there's a lot of time there. So it's more quality approaches versus quantity. And that's the really key important thing is, Iran can essentially be done in about 15 minutes. You just hop on audio, video, and the process is pretty streamlined. So that's going to save
Mhm.
you a ton of time in the long run. So there's an increased time to revenue, which allows me to do more and market and expand my business. Also, in the state of New York and many other states, you can always charge significantly more for a remote online notary than an in-person. Uh, you can actually charge about $25 a notary stamp, and so which is significantly more than the in-person due to the added technology, the convenience factor.
Right.
That really happened. And during COVID, our business grew by over 300%. And
Wow.
obviously, remote online notary, the need to do things in a more fast, efficient, remote
Sure.
way. That was the way that drove it. But I mean, you fast forward 4 years later, everything's pretty much opened back up, and the vaccine's
Yeah.
readily available. So, what are some of the objections now? And really, the sense is people love it.
Hmm.
People are always going to want to do things in a much more fast, efficient, contact-free way, and that's really the wave of the future. So Ron isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when do you get on board with it.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
really the wave of the future. So
Right.
there's a lot of variables there, but in terms of it being paperless, you can charge more, like you're going to make more revenue, you're going to have an increased time to revenue as well. And the more adoption that grows, like with states like New York and other states that are coming on board, like California's coming on board as well. So it's if the state allows for it and the title companies, and it's only going to continue to grow. This is
Yeah.
really just the beginning. So yeah.
It's like the Wild Wild West.
Wow, it is.
That's awesome. Well, and I think that I think there's always going to be people that are leery of the technology because they're not sure, they're not real tech savvy, so they don't know how to maneuver all the things. How difficult is it to maneuver the platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, obviously, it depends on a couple of things. If you've ever been on Zoom, obviously, like how we are now with audio video technology. How familiar have you ever signed a document, done a closing through DocuSign or an e-sign solution?
Mhm.
Very similar. But you know, regardless of what platform you go with, it is super, super critical to have the proper customer support and training, because you really just can't do this without that. So I would rather, sign up for a platform that's going to give me that versus, anything minimal at all.
Sure.
Um, at SIGNiX, we actually do free live training sessions every single day. So,
That's
we
awesome.
you can attend those as many times you'd like. Like we set you up for success. We also give you both phone and email US-based customer support. So, absolutely, regardless if you go with us, we'll guarantee that you will be committed to your success. And I think that's key in having a partner, because with this being so new, some platforms don't offer that. So it's
Right.
about asking the right questions there, but you absolutely want to be able to have, with this being all new, just have
Hmm.
someone be there to help you through the process.
Yes. So my understanding is that yours is one of the few platforms, if not the only platform. I think there might be one other that actually provides like phone support and email support when, and I think that that's a really big deal for people because if they get stuck and they have a question and they need immediate, answers, they have an outlet to be able to get those.
And it's hard to get that now in
Mhm.
2024. Like we really see that for different service offerings, and people don't want
Yeah.
to be able to answer the phone. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that we've always said that we're going to be committed to our clients' success, and really the in full transparency, your success is our success. So
True
you know,
enough.
so why would we not want to help you? And I mean, it goes even further than that too, to where, you give notaries the proper resources. And,
Mhm.
that marketing is a big part of this because it's only going
Right.
to be as successful as I market it because you are literally, adding an entire new service to the platform. And there was one other thing as well, Sheila, as a benefit to remote notarization
Sure.
that many notaries may not know. One of the biggest things is I can notarize for people out of state,
Hmm.
which if I'm a notary in the state of New York, I can notarize for someone in New Jersey or Florida or wherever. So as long as I'm in the state that I'm commissioned in during the time of the RON, my clients can be located anywhere. So, we really do see that in a lot of companies as well, where there's, they have 40,000 employees and, my signer, my colleague is in Dubai and needs a document notarized. Well,
Right.
there's a new way to do that.
Yeah.
So it really opens you up to international and embassies
Hmm.
that we had discussed as well. So there's
Yeah.
just a ton of use cases it for being, a widely accepted process.
Right. It sure does make the world smaller, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And all at the
It's
same time,
amazing.
yeah, and all at the same time, you don't have to leave your house, deal with the
Yeah.
cost of paper, gas,
Right.
none of that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's definitely a streamlined version to it, but yeah, I mean, again, having the proper platform set you up for success is significantly overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. And I think that there's a lot, New York has a lack of education as far as our notaries are concerned as anyway. And so I think that our office fields so many questions and Marcy get so many inquiries. How do I do this? How do I do that? How is that? And there's just really nowhere to get that information. And so she does a lot. She spends a lot of her time kind of walking people through things and answering their questions. And if she doesn't know, she finds the answer and gets back to them. And so it's so nice to know that there's a partner there that is going to be able to answer those questions as well.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's super critical because you'll be figuring it out yourself if you don't.
For sure. And that can always lead to problems.
And another thing too that I would say to look out for is a lot of, and one of the reasons for the lack of support is these newer platforms.
Mhm. Yeah,
A lot of these platforms were born out of the pandemic in 2020 and even thereafter. So, they are still considered startups, and not to bash or anything like that, but
sure.
uh, the minimal amount of employees leads to the minimal amount of support for the customer base.
Hmm.
So I mean, I obviously, I mean, I think that those are important. I think everyone should offer phone support for
Yeah,
people to get set up, and of course training. So
sure. Absolutely. Well, we're so glad that we found you. And I know that we're going to be you're going to be doing a demonstration for us, for the, members and for PNS.
yes,
That, we'll get that set up pretty soon so that you have more information and you can see it live and, so that they can make a, better decision.
yes.
Um, And if you do have any questions about the platform, or want to know more, or want to know how you can sign up, you can certainly go to both pages. Nina has a page with our partnership on it, and so does PNS. So you can go to both of those websites and absolutely find out more information. We've got some good things over there. And Sam, do you have anything else that you want to share before we
No,
head
that
off?
yeah, that sounds great. The only thing I was going to say is when you sign up, you'll get a 10% discount as a result of our partnership. Very excited to educate New York notaries and get them comfortable doing remote online notary transactions. So feel free to reach out. My contact information is also on the page too. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and we're going to have a demonstration so you can actually see how the platform works. But Sheila, I thank you very much for inviting me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I think that everybody got great information. They know a lot more about SIGNiX and how much it can be a benefit to them. And I really think that, with 10% off, guys, come on. You certainly answered all of my questions and made me feel better. So I
Fantastic.
think that anybody that's listening today will have a much more greater sense of calm about going forward and trying out SIGNiX. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. And thank